Welcome to 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming with your hosts, Taylor
and Q.
Nuclear launch detected.
90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming does not represent the views of WWSP, 90 FM, or the University of Wisconsin school system. The views expressed and the information given in this broadcast can be used at the sole risk of the listener.
Listening to this broadcast is guaranteed to increase your wisdom by 5 points.
The Enrichment Center is required to remind you that you will be baked, and then there will be cake.
Hey, listen!
Hello, and welcome to another edition of 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming here on WWSP Stevens Point. It's also called 90 FM, your only alternative. I am Taylor, one half of the hosting process of this show, accompanied by the other half.
And this is Q.
Yes. And we are a video game talk show. We go over the current events surrounding games and gamers and all sorts of other things pertaining to video games. We actually have a guest this week who will, in his own words, chime in from time to time. Hello, how are you doing, sir?
Hello, Taylor.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Cameron, and I was just on the air minutes ago.
Just minutes ago.
I'd stick around.
Yep.
And is there something specific we'd like to tell people? I think I'm normally the one that does this, but you know.
Our views reflect no one else's but our own.
Yeah.
We do not reflect the opinions of UW Board of Regents.
Yep.
UW
Stevens Point,
and 90 FM,
and the state
station.
of Wisconsin.
Oh, and the state of the whole. Yes.
Yep, our views are purely our own. They don't belong to anybody else unless we read somebody else's opinion. Then they belong to that specific person. Because every once in a while we'll read like Gabe Newell's opinion, the creator of Valve Software. We read his opinion every once in a while.
We like a lot of people's opinions, honestly. Yeah. I mean, we have to read the news, so someone has to filter it through.
Yep. So yeah, we read quite a few opinions. But the opinions you hear out of us are purely our own. They don't belong to anybody we mentioned at all. Just a second ago. But yeah, we'll start it off.
This week we're starting off with, it seems like, honestly, there's two of these to talk about right now. These are becoming incredibly popular, but we talk about the Humble Indie Bundle from time to time.
That we do.
And there is a new one. This one is called the Humble Voxatron Bundle, or I don't know how it's pronounced. I think it's Voxatron. Or the Humble Voxatron debut this time, actually.
Because this game is absolutely 100% brand new. It's not even out yet.
This is the alpha, I think, that it's actually
It's listed
releasing.
as the alpha. Yeah, and the game is amazing. It's really cool. I mean, you can make all the levels you can be in and all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've actually this actually just got a couple extras before I totally go off on a tangent. It just recently had 2 games added to it. A action RPG kind of shootery game called The Binding of Isaac, which I've heard wonderful things about. I've heard amazing things about that game. The story is very strange, very dark. Apparently, your mother supposedly believes that God told her that she needs to make a sacrifice, or you're sent into this weird dark
and then
place,
sacrificed or something like that.
Yeah, it's very dark
dark.
sounding. Yeah, I haven't gotten to play it yet, but the other one is a platformer puzzler called Blocks That Matter.
Yep.
Blocks
That Matter. It's basically like a puzzle platformer mashup where you play as a little drill and you walk around and you drill into bricks, and you get those bricks and you can use those bricks in other places. Basically, he assimilates things and makes properties of other bricks and makes bigger things to get to the end of the puzzle.
Yep, certain bricks can slide, and certain ones will start on fire. And I think the reason for the name Blocks That Matter is actually that all the different block types are very specific, and they all have different properties.
They all matter.
Yes, they all matter in their own right.
They're all needed to get to the end of the puzzle.
Tis true. And then the other bundle, which is actually the one that I already purchased. I have not gotten the Humble Voxatron one.
We're not done talking about this one yet.
Continue. Say what you need to say.
I'm not really done talking about it because you can't forget to mention the awesome pay what you want. You can pay whatever you want. You pay whatever you want just for Voxatron Alpha. So just that game, you pay whatever you want.
You have to beat the average for the other two.
If you beat the average of all the people what they pay, you then get the other two games, The Binding of Isaac and Blocks of Matter. You also not are only buying these games to support these people, these independent developers who none of these companies are ever big, ever. There's not more. Some of the games that come up here, they only have 1 or 2 people that made them.
Exactly.
I think V was made by one guy.
And they do a great job of picking the games. I don't think I've gotten a single Humble Indie Bundle game that I was just like, oh, well, that's a waste of space, and uninstalled it. Like, they're all still on my computer, and I still play all of them from time to time.
And they're all pretty tiny because they're independent developed games. So they're not going to run out of space like they did back in 1999, where you could fit 3 games on your computer before you noticed you had no space left. The current average right now is $471.
Fun dollars.
I didn't quantify it.
I know. I'm just adding that.
And there's 12 days. So
yes. You got plenty of time, but the average will probably go nowhere but up because everybody probably wants these other two games.
Everybody's going to pay, $4.72 fun cents. And so then average goes up a little bit in each time. And then people throw up there that they get their notch for 2,000 fun dollars. TP Jeff for 600 fun dollars. A game company out of Necedah, Wisconsin is in 6th place.
Whoa. What are they called?
Funko Amusements. They build...
Funko?
Yeah, like Funkoland.
Yeah, no.
That's not them.
Okay.
It's not the same company, but they basically build arcade games, like the actual boxes, like
Dude.
it used to be.
I'm gonna go there. I haven't played anything in an arcade cabinet in longer than I like to admit.
Because they donated a bunch of money to charity, we're talking about their company. Congratulations, company in Necedah, Wisconsin.
It's called Karma right there, by the way.
That's right. But Notch naturally is always in first place for most of the.
He has lost a couple of these though. He kind of gets undercut at the last second, and someone's like, "Aha, more money than you."
Yeah, but nobody ever looks at it after it's already done.
Fair enough.
So, if you're the highest bid at the start of the entire thing, you get most views. But yeah. Keep talking. But this not only helps these gaming companies make money, it also makes money for the charities that are involved. And there's 2 of them, and we've talked about this many times. The Child's Play charity and the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Both are pretty cool. Child's Play kind of stands out just because of it's a subject that automatically kind of tugs at you.
It's sick kids, some of them terminally ill that have no chance of surviving. It's the saddest story you could ever come up with. And this company helps them by giving them games and something to do while they're sick in the hospital. They work with a lot of big hospitals. Mm-hmm. Child's Play, I believe, was started by Penny Arcade quite a few years ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, we had this discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Penny Arcade started a lot of big.
Penny Arcade's
things.
pretty cool.
They help as many sick kids as they possibly can, and they make a ton of money, especially off this.
Mm-hmm.
They make hundreds of thousands.
Well, and
fun dollars.
These become increasingly common, and yet they don't seem to be losing their income because it's still no matter what it's for, it's still an awesome deal. No matter what, you're getting something pretty cool for your donation. Yeah. So they've stayed pretty popular, and I think the more frequent they get, the more popular they're getting. Honestly.
And the other charity that you can donate to, if you want to, is the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Basically, they're a non-profit lawyers for the video game and the technology world. So basically, if you're a very small developer and you have your ideas stolen by Apple, which has happened many times.
Oh, many times.
My opinion is purely my own. Don't reflect WWSP Stevens' point. Microsoft's stolen quite a few patents. Microsoft Windows just started.
Well, that's just called business, though.
Exactly.
Honestly, you made something. I'm gonna get to the office before you. Ha ha.
So if you're one or two guys sitting in your basement who spent the last 3 years making a game or a piece of software code and it gets stolen by a massive company, you don't have the money to fight Microsoft. You don't. These guys help them.
Yep.
So you have the choice to sanction your money between these 2 charities and the developers of the games. Or even money. You can actually give money to the humble people themselves.
Yep. And then finally transitioning
to the other group of indie games.
It's called Indie Royale, and it's kind of a switch up from this. With the Humble Indie Bundle, you can pay whatever you want. With the Indie Royale, you have to try to pay over or under the average, or it's over the average to lower the average is the way it works. It was very strange.
So if you pay more than the set amount of money,
everybody else
has to pay less.
So you can pay a tiny amount, but then the average or the cost goes up. Yeah.
I, naturally having no money, paid the minimum, and the minimum is not a penny.
Yeah,
a fun penny. It's not.
Yeah.
The minimum, I believe, when I paid was like $4 something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you to get the average lowered, I had to pay more than 10, and then everybody else gets lowered. And if people paid over $300, the entire average was the entire average for everybody. So if one person pays $300, everybody else gets all their prices knocked off by $5. And so when somebody paid $300 for one time, the price of the entire bundle dropped to like $2 something.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It was an interesting idea. I don't think there were any charities tied to this though. Which kind of
it was just for the developers.
Yeah, it's just the developers, but there were some really cool games on there. It was Eris, Sanctum, and 2 others.
Gemini Rue and
Gemini
Nimbus.
Rue. Okay.
I played Nimbus for a while. Nimbus is a very cool game. I do not like inverted games where I press one way and I move the other direction. I don't like that on the outright because it just messes with my mind. I eventually got it about like 20, 30 minutes into it, but it was still really strange.
Yep.
Sanctum is, we talked about Orcs Must Die.
It's similar to that. It's a 4-player version
but it
of it,
has
though.
co-op built into it.
Which is awesome.
I had a lot of fun with it. It has a lot of little bugs and little, graphical problems that I did not like at all, but hopefully they'll eventually fix them. It's an indie developer. You can't blame them on everything.
I have played Eris, which was basically like Mega Man on like amphetamines. It was pretty crazy, but very fun, very very fun. It was kind of a mixture between the like classic Mega Man platformer with curtain shooters, like 1942 and all those other like top down ones where it's just like a hail of bullets.
They claim themselves to be a episodic, hardcore, action-packed, side-scrolling platformer.
Yes, in so many words, that is exactly what it is, and it's a blast. The storyline is it's competent. But since it's clearly not what you're there for, it's only enough to get it through. But the actual gameplay is awesome. Very fun. Bunch of like upgradable weapons, and you get new weapons from killing bosses, just like in Mega Man. It's definitely very reminiscent of that whole genre, but it's done very well. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yep. This bundle is done. You can't buy this one anymore.
Yes. There's another one coming up though.
Yeah.
They're doing 4, I think.
It looks like they're doing one every 7 days.
Yeah. And the next one is called, what was it? 7
to 14 days, depending.
They already have the names of them all on the bottom of the page.
The next one is the difficult second bundle.
Yes, and then there's like the big third bundle or something like that, and one more.
The really big bundle and the Alpha Fun bundle. So they're all in the 7 days, 46 minutes, something like that.
Next one should be out.
Yep.
Which we will be able to talk about because it turns out in 7 days.
Oh, what show is
we're
going
here.
on?
Whoa. Crazy.
Well, the last Humble Indie Bundle actually ended the hour our show was on,
which was awesome. Yeah,
so
that was.
We got to shell it for the last hour.
I had to emergency purchase it right in the middle of the show.
But yeah, we can't build up these two, sort of charities for independent developers. I mean, we're an independent nonprofit radio station. What's better than helping an independent a little bit of profit, but not much. Especially working with the Humble Indie Bundle, where it actually
does have nonprofit charities associated with it.
You can actually choose that whatever money you put in there, you can choose to have all that money go to Child's Play, and the developers get nothing. The developers are putting their game there, knowing that could happen, but they're doing this because they want to help Child's Play and the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Plus, honestly,
it generates a ton of
this is such an opportunity for the developers too, because their games would never be able to get this much attention without an insanely expensive advertising campaign, a very expensive one. So
in 2 days, they've sold 110,000 copies.
Jeez, that is
2
ridiculous.
2 days,
pretty good.
Yeah.
Great success.
And they still have 12 days left. This one's gonna easily break a couple, maybe 2 million, because the last one was like 1.4 million, I think.
Yep. And I think, honestly, if I remember right, I think the next one was already announced. Like, they just are cranking these out. The
Humble Bundles?
Yeah, I
don't think they announce them until the day they come out.
I thought I saw talk about it, but I have no sources.
Maybe by the game developer themselves. Because I know Voxatron, they talked about it not that long ago. And they talked about it at length. And I know the Binding of Isaacs, they've talked about tons.
Yeah.
And Blocks That Matter I've heard of beforehand, too.
Yep.
But maybe we're just thinking we've heard of them beforehand, so naturally we're thinking that these are...
This is possible.
Most of the other bundles, these are all games we've never heard of at all.
Yeah.
And all these three games
certain ones.
Big.
I mean, they do like to throw in, their headliners.
The headliner always starts it out like with this one Voxatron did, because Voxatron has been highly anticipated for a long time.
And then like VVVV was the one for the second one, and yeah.
And then Minecraft came in with that one too.
Yep.
They had a weird thing with that.
That was very strange. It was like temporary access.
Yeah, you
but
can play Minecraft for the entire for a couple weeks or something. But you can get, if you wanted to, donate to charity. It's humblebundle.com if you wanted to. It's a bunch of games for really cheap.
Yes. All right. Next story. We talk about these guys all the time, and it never seems to be in a positive light. So this one's
We're going back to EA.
Origin specifically.
Origins, yeah.
They got in some trouble recently in Germany because there was a bunch of proof that Origin was accessing data from other programs and basically was acting like spyware. And because of that, in Germany, everyone was, in an uproar, and actually a bunch of companies were offering refunds on games like Battlefield 3 and
so if you bought Battlefield 3, you could walk back into GameStop in Germany and return your game even after you activated the code.
That's nice.
Yeah, no, it was pretty intense, and EA is denying it. They're saying that it just doesn't happen. Apparently, they're not trying to make a nice excuse that suddenly allows both teams to be right. They're just saying nope, didn't happen. Whole country's lying to you.
Yeah. Basically, Germany states otherwise, but the exact quote by EA was, "We do not have access to information such as pictures, documents, or personal data, which have nothing to do with the execution of the Origin program on the system of the player. Neither will they be collected by us. We have updated the end-user license agreement." Here's my quip to that, "to cover our backs of Origin in the interest of our players to create more clarity." To cover our backs.
Yes.
Now,
if they didn't do any of that, what did they need to change about their end user
cover
license
our
agreement?
backs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even without without the whole covering their backs thing, if this wasn't the case, if there wasn't actually problems with them accessing things they shouldn't, what did they need to change? It's not like they need to change it to say, oh, by the way, we'll occasionally access your files if they're not accessing your files.
Now, is the reason they would be doing that is just to sell your information to advertisers?
I would assume
potentially,
so.
or- yeah.
That usually is the case for it, and I mean, we don't have too much information on exactly what was being accessed, and I don't think I saw anywhere what they actually added to the license agreement.
The Der Spiegel, which is one of the biggest newspapers in Germany.
Yep.
If you ever read newspapers or clippings from Germany,
Daily, actually.
Yeah.
I read the German papers all the time. I don't.
Yeah, I didn't think you knew German. But they actually responded by reprinting the list of items they changed.
Really?
The newspaper, and it was big news because
Wow.
this is a big thing because Germany has the highest privacy rights out of everybody. I mean, by far. There's nobody else in the Western world, the industrialized Western world, that has tougher privacy than Germany. And Germany taking a staunch, big thing about this because they were trying to ban the like button and the +1 button because it actually messed with websites.
Yeah.
And was actually keeping user data that shouldn't be kept. But then again, the German government was caught making their own Trojans. So, it's very hard, to pick that out. But we see that EA is trying to cover their backs by changing this end user license.
Yeah, clearly there was something going on if they're scrambling to try to save themselves out of it.
Because I know I installed Origin on my own computer.
Yeah.
I really wish I wouldn't have, because when I installed it, it not only installed Origin and installed Battlefield 3, and this was the beta, it installed like 6 other programs that did random different things. And they were all installed at the same time, so I knew they had to have all come with Origin because I wasn't doing more than Battlefield 3 at that time, which...
But it's EA. I mean...
It's EA.
As much as it almost seems tired to say this, they just don't care about you, at all.
No.
They care
people,
that you're buying the game, and then once you've done that, they're done.
They're making tons of money, so
Oh,
it's
so
not-
much money.
It doesn't.
Billions.
You don't need you as a customer, as a person. You know what I mean?
But in the long run, any company does.
no, I know, but
it's just a business model. It's like farming the same crop for 12 years with no fertilizer. You're just going to create a dust bowl, and that's what they're doing to themselves.
well, yeah, they'll
Farmville did a pretty good job.
I mean, they'll probably end up, doing something that's just gonna.
I don't know. They've been doing this for quite a few years. EA and Ubisoft have been doing these random things for, almost 5-6 years by now.
Yeah.
And it's really sucky to see that the industry standard is crap.
Which, I mean,
'Cause you look-
that's not entirely, though. Because as those companies get huge, the companies that are quote-unquote small are actually relatively large companies now. People like Valve and
Valve's
all
a very
of
big company.
and all of like Mojang, they're actually like people who, they're worthy of your attention and they get plenty of attention. And because of that, they can actually have a little impact. They just don't make the kind of money that you see out of EA.
Well, no, you don't make the money out of EA because people will try to boycott EA games. They still buy them. That's not a boycott.
No.
But how do you
stop the
stage-
juggernaut that is The Sims?
Yeah, exactly. How do you stage a boycott for free that somehow informs more people than a multi-million-dollar advertising campaign for the game? You can't outdo that. There's no chance. You're never gonna stage a successful boycott of a game that is on every single commercial break. You can't do it. It just won't happen.
Yeah. EA takes privacy of its users very seriously. We've taken every precaution to protect our personal and anonymous user data collected. So they're protecting personal and anonymous user data that they're collecting.
They're collecting it. They're just saying that they're keeping it well protected.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're taking privacy very seriously. And
Like
then
Facebook.
and then they say that they don't access personal data. These are two different quotes. There's one quote that says we don't look at user data, and one says when we do look at user data, we look at it pretty.
We don't do this, except when we do.
Good privacy.
But when we do it the right way because we're good guys, right?
Yeah. I don't know, EA. We've talked about you for the past 4 weeks.
Yep. And as bad as all this is, as much as all this garbage is coming out about Origin, they just signed 3 gigantic publishers to start doing Origin releases, including Warner Bros., THQ, and Capcom.
It's the first level down from EA and
all of the money is now apparently going to start going to Origin, which is awesome. I'm so happy about that.
No, that's not a good thing.
I'm
calling your sarcasm. Just go out there in the listening world, because remember, sarcasm doesn't particularly 100% relate over the radio.
I think there's a punctuation mark for it, but that doesn't work any better over the radio than,
What does THQ even
Apparently
make
it's like an
anymore?
upside-down question mark. What does THQ stand for?
No, what does it even make anymore?
What does it make?
Oh, THQ still makes some fairly
Yeah, no,
good
I think,
games.
aren't they working with the new Modern Warfare?
No,
I thought they
are
were involved
not.
in it.
That's Square Enix.
Square Enix is not on Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it is.
What?
It made the Japanese release.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me about that. Okay, never mind.
It's
I
quite
remember
surprising
that.
to learn that Square Enix was working with Modern Warfare.
Yep, no, I remember now.
Their net revenue is very low.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it have a list of what they've got coming out, what they had come out recently? Because I'm trying. I know I've seen the THQ logo on boxes lately,
'Cause
but
I feel
I cannot
like
think of anything specific.
4 or 5 years ago, I saw THQ on all kinds of things, but now
I don't think they're the juggernaut they used to be.
What they did is something that I'm seeing coming out of the Farm Bill developer. What's his?
Oh, what were they? Oh yeah, those guys.
Who makes Farm Bill? Oh wow.
Zynga or
Yeah,
there we go,
Zynga.
there
It
we
was
go.
Zynga.
There we go.
Thanks for the random guest save. That was
Yes.
impressive, actually.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
But Zynga is just buying up these tiny companies, and they're building all these facilities everywhere. Looking at the list of the companies THQ acquired, you've got big, huge games. They made Rise of Nations.
Really?
Rise of Nations was literally one of the best RTSs that ever graced the computer. I would put it up there as probably number 2 or number 3 behind StarCraft and Age of Empires 1.
Okay.
Yeah, Age of Empires is pretty sweet.
Wait, Warcraft 2 is nowhere on this?
Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 are in the 4 and 5s.
Okay.
There's a list of 10. We've been told many times to make lists of our games.
I think I had the original.
But
Warcraft.
lists they're too absolute
Warcraft
for me.
1 was pretty good.
Lists are too absolute. There's so many games that should tie, and you can't have ties on your list unless you're copping out.
True. I'm still keeping in my top 3.
Yeah.
StarCraft, Age of Empires, and Rise of Nations. Yeah.
No.
I still play Rise of Nations every once in a while with friends. But yeah, you look at this list of companies they acquired, it's outrageous. Some of these companies were huge, and that's why you saw it on everything, because they started closing these. If you look at the list, this is when the major crisis starts. Closed in January of 2008, closed in January of 2008, March 2009, November 2008. It was this time period they just started hemorrhaging facilities that they bought in the early 2000, right after the
that's
dot-com
exactly
crash.
what Zynga did too, actually.
And that's what Zynga's doing.
Yeah.
It's not what Zynga did, it's what Zynga's doing.
How do they even make? Zynga's.
No, I have no idea how they make money.
All right.
Zynga, they originally made a ton of money because they had their little scams of Farmville and Cityville and all of the side games that they made.
Yeah, but nobody plays Facebook games anymore.
Yeah. So they made a gigantic explosion of money, bought a bunch of companies, lost all their money. That's pretty much at the point they're at right now, and so they're starting to pretty much have to start considering.
Is it almost like we're having like a second .com boom and then bubble burst?
No, we're seeing the entire economy, the entire world crash.
Well, I know that, but I mean, it seems like it just keeps repeating itself.
Video games is just one of those things,
I guess.
But yeah, they've got Saints Row the Third. That's from.
That's THQ. Okay.
That's THQ.
Wow, that's huge
too. WWE, all the WWE games are all them. Warhammer games are all them.
I'm just hoping that doesn't mean
and
that...
the new Warhammer game is supposed to be really good.
I heard they were really fun, actually. Yeah. I haven't played any of them, but I'm just hoping this doesn't mean that all these games are going to be Origin exclusive now, because that would just become a pain in the butt. Because that was the nice thing about computer. I didn't have to be like, I only have one type of computer, so I can't play all the computer games. If it turns into the exact same thing as consoles, where it's like, sorry, I have a Steam account, so I can't play blank game... I'm going to be not happy.
I mean, that's the true problem in the entire situation, too, is you've got this piece of proprietary software that you have to pay a game you paid $60 for. So you paid for this game.
60 plus. Games, like, there are a few games that have been pushing that boundary, which is not okay
PC
at all.
PC games pretty pricey? I mean, I don't play any PC games, so...
Some are 40, some are 60, some are 65, some are more.
Yeah.
And the prices of games are just growing outrageously because they know they can absorb this profit out of these people who are going to pay for the game no matter what and not complain about it. And now, see, that's not a problem. That's a problem on the consumer, not the business. The business knows it can make money, and that's what businesses are there to do. Businesses have to make money because they have to make the next game. If they don't make money, they're not going to be able to make the next game. Mm-hmm. So you've got this intrinsic problem of this proprietary software that's only allowed for these specific games.
Well,
now,
it's not that it's only allowed for those games. It's that those games can only function with it. Yes.
Now, yesterday, a major hacking organization out of Russia, Razor 1911, came out with their patch to Battlefield 3 that people who legally bought the game can play it without Origin.
Mm-hmm.
This was a patch for a game that if you paid for it legally,
now you can play it without some random.
Now you can play it. Yeah. This wasn't a game to crack. This wasn't a patch to crack the game.
Which is that's almost a sad state of piracy to be in.
They came out with a crack, too. And the comments for this crack on like Reddit and stuff were, I trust a hacking organization out of Russia where I know none of the people more than I trust EA. There's something wrong there. When you trust a multinational corporation less
than hackers
in Russia.
At least the hackers are keep saving you money.
What's sad too is,
but that patch doesn't save them any money.
Well, I mean, the second version, the actual crack does.
That's the crazy part of it, is they made a ability to play the game the way the people want to play it.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when the piracy is just all about fixing.
It's honestly to the point where it's just like, do you want to play your game without all the random loops that you have to jump through?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. It's very sad. THQ also works with all the Disney Pixar games, all the Nickelodeon games, and all the UFC games.
Okay.
They
my favorite. I love those UFC games. That's all I play. All day, every day.
Wow, they had a net loss of $431 million.
Making SpongeBob games? No way.
Oh, I do actually specifically remember them making SpongeBob games now that you mentioned that.
They do. They work with Nickelodeon and Disney.
Yep.
They made SpongeBob games.
By the way, we're at the half point. Do we want to do our song real quick?
We can do our song. I don't have it open because we were having an intelligent conversation.
Semi-intelligent.
I felt it was pretty intelligent.
Our song today, are we saying the platform this time or not?
Yeah.
Yes,
you can
okay.
say the platform. I gotta find the song.
Was a release for my favorite platform to date, the PS2, which was always my favorite solely because of the just sheer variety of games. Everyone found something they liked on the PS2.
Best console ever made, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it lasted a very long time, and a lot of third-party developers were making for it, and it was relatively cheap. So, I mean, it was a very good era. And this was a very big game for it, a game that I played.
I believe it was the biggest game.
Yes. Well,
no, San Andreas was.
Yes. Okay. Yep, that's true.
It's up there. It's in the top 10. of the highest selling.
You now have a hint that it's not San Andreas.
It is not. San Andreas, all the music in San Andreas was all, popular music.
Yes, yeah.
There were a few little, themes underneath it, like the opening theme. And
Yeah, no, everything else was on the radio or...
which was really cool for a game to do.
It was cool.
I
that's
gotta
sweet.
give
I
them
love
that. That's
Change the
pretty
radio
cool.
station. And,
One thing that I
stuff.
wanted to see out of the next one is to have your own programmable radio stations of real radio stations.
Which, by the way, we'll be talking about after the break because GTA 5 just got some nice announcements.
Yeah, so it looks really cool. Hopefully they can pull it off. They failed
haven't
us yet.
Yeah, they haven't really.
I don't
dropped the
think
ball.
Rockstar has failed us with any game they've ever made. Table tennis was even absolutely amazing.
Now, I think I've asked this before. Did they make Red Dead Revolver?
They made the first one.
They made Red Dead Revolver, but not Red Dead Redemption?
I don't know. Hold on.
I
Red
thought they
Dead
made
Redemption-
They didn't make Red Dead Redemption?
No, they did make that.
Yeah.
Which is
Rockstar Games
yeah.
present Red Dead Redemption.
Yep. But did they do Red Dead Revolver? Because I know Red Dead Revolver was not a good game. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, Rockstar San Diego, which I've never heard of before.
Okay. So
But
technically,
it was Rockstar.
Yeah, technically
But-
they dropped a ball.
But you remember Rockstar North and Rockstar South are the two companies of the Rockstar conglomerate.
Is there only those two now, or do they still have the little random ones that would make stuff?
Well, I assume those all fall under North or South.
Yeah.
No, they're still separate, I think.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
hold on.
that it would just kind of tree out from there.
Yep. Rockstar Japan, Rockstar tons of them.
Okay.
Toronto, Vancouver, San Diego, Rockstar North, Rockstar South don't exist no more. I'm gonna use don't in a wrong way. It does not exist anymore. London. So yeah, like Midnight Club came out of London. Bully came out of New England.
Bully was awesome. Midnight Club was okay.
I kind of
it was a
didn't like
decent
Midnight.
racer. It wasn't,
I'm a racing game fanatic. I hated Midnight
well,
Club.
it just didn't really bring anything spectacular to the table.
No,
it
and
was
the
just
co-
kind of like, here's some cars, drive them.
The handling of the cars is all terrible and Grand Theft Auto-y, and no, I didn't like it at all.
Rockstar North made the original Lemmings games back in the 80s.
Really?
And then 1988 is when they were founded. They made Grand Theft Auto and Manhunt.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Rockstar-
Manhunt. That was
Gory.
That had some media fiasco around it. That
Red
was
Dead Redemption came out of San Diego too.
okay.
Yep. So I mean, but they were previously known as Angel Studios. They developed the Rage engine. Wow. You can see this company's had its hands in a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Well, I mean, they're definitely one of the larger companies.
it's Rockstar. They make Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even people who don't know video games, everyone knows GTA.
Because
So
of the the gritty realism of each one, as they've been. But yeah, back to what we were doing. We're talking about.
yes,
our
we should probably get
video
this
game
song on
music.
before we're at the end of the show.
No, we're good. This week we picked it's fairly difficult.
But there's more at stake.
Yeah, there's more at stake.
We
So-
are at Quattro prizes.
Yes,
Ooh.
that means
Yes.
you are $20
dollars.
$20
Dropping the ball.
I don't know if it's a gift. It's a gift
Fun
certificate.
bucks.
It's a gift
Fun
certificate
bucks.
to the Tech Lounge. $20 fun and a gift certificate to the Tech Lounge. Yeah. So if you guys out there know the name of this game, it's a song from the game. I don't care where. If you can tell me where it is in the game, I'll
More
give-
power to you.
Yeah, major props.
We'll give you a
bro.
high five when you give you the coupons.
Yeah, but
or
we want the
certificates.
name of the game. It's a little more difficult. But it's a first foray into the DVD realm of games.
Yes, it's rough to actually try to figure out how hard these are. By the way, it's very difficult to anticipate whether or not people will recognize the song. So
I mean, we could pick some random game from the NES that only sold 1,000 copies. Yeah, no one's ever gonna get it.
unless there's the one random person who's just
Exactly.
like, oh, that's my favorite game.
Exactly.
I loved Battletoads. I played that every day.
Yeah, I mean, and
Is that NHL 95? Yes.
and then you guys, yeah, it's how it works. So we've got our song here, and then we'll be back after our commercial break.
With a few things, we've got a lot of stories. Actually,
We have a lot of stories
We're
we
gonna have
can
some
cover.
overflow here.
There's a lot of really fun stuff we could talk about. But our song, so I probably should tell you the phone number you should call.
We maybe should mention that. The phone number is 715-346-2696. You will probably be speaking to Q. Just tell him the name of the game, and
If you're wrong, I'll hang up on you.
yes, well he'll say you're wrong first.
No,
Yeah,
no. I'm
you need to say it.
Trivia style.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't get to know whether it's right or
ID
wrong
number,
in
please.
true 90 fashion.
But yeah, just give a call to 715-346-2696 with your answers to the question, and you can win $20 fun, which is actual real currency, $1 fun to $1 real dollar. We're not messing with you. This is a real gift certificate.
Not Monopoly money.
It's a real gift certificate, and there's 20 at stake.
Yes.
So here is the song by the game on the PlayStation 2 here on 90 FM. Your only alternative. You're listening to 90 terabytes of alternative gaming. Let's say it again.
Yeah, you totally snubbed me. You totally snubbed me. You're
messed
listening to 90 FM, your only alternative for gaming.
Ninety terabytes of alternative gaming is brought to you by Gaming Generations in Stevens Point, located at 135 Division Street. Phone number 715-254-9990.
Gaming Generations features new releases and a wide selection of used games. They also have the classics you grew up with and the know-how to get your console up and running again.
That's Gaming Generations in Stevens Point, your source for gaming.
90 terabytes of alternative gaming is brought to you by
The Tech Lounge, offering the world's best next generation and retro game systems, along with great tasting Fair Trades coffee, espresso, jet smoothies, and energy drinks. Open Tuesday through Saturday, noon to midnight, Sunday, 2 p.m. till 10, and closed on Monday.
Located at 1036 Main Street in downtown Stevens Point.
Visit them at the web at www.techloungesp.com. The Tech Lounge, where the future is yesterday.
It's a modern age arcade.
90 terabytes of alternative gaming does not represent the views of WWSP, 90 FM, or the University of Wisconsin school system. The views expressed and the information given in this broadcast can be used at the sole risk of the listener.
I mean, let's face it, the opinion of these two guys is about as pristine as Wikipedia. After all, their source is the internet. And now, back to the show. Fight.
Hello, and welcome back to 90 terabytes of alternative gaming here on 90 FM.
We have a winner.
Yes, we did have a winner. Ian, I think he won our first giveaway, by the way. So now that we just refreshed over the month, I think
he won the first one in like September.
Yes. So he's doing well apparently.
Yeah,
but he was one of the I think 4 callers we got.
There was about 5 or 6 actually.
Okay, well
when he
the
won,
4 that I got to talk to.
Yeah.
Who called, and we got a lot of guesses for Final Fantasy X.
Which does sound like that.
Yeah, no,
the
as
same
soon as I got
time
the first guess, I was like, oh, a bunch of people are going to say that, aren't they? Because it really sounds very similar.
Same time frame.
But the game was actually Kingdom Hearts. And,
Number 1.
Yes, the first one. That specific song was from where again? That was
Hollow Bastion.
Yeah,
that was like the 5th or 6th level in it
no,
or something.
Well, it was a level you revisited. That was the place where you fought Riku. You had the crazy like sword battle with him. That was like my favorite fight in the game. Yes.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
I want to go back and beat that game again.
I might too, actually. Like the more we talked about that game before the show, the more it made me feel like it.
I reinstalled Tomba 2 on my computer.
Really?
Yeah. I used to.
I didn't even know you had it for. I thought you had it for PlayStation.
Yeah, but I put it.
Oh, okay.
I have an emulator.
Okay, and since you legally own the game, that's totally okay.
Man, I own a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, and a PlayStation 3, so
Exactly.
I think I legally should be able to do that.
Yeah, no, which you can actually.
I don't think you actually can.
No, that's what it says. That's like the laws around emulators. If you have your personal copy of the game, and like you already can play this game, you can have an emulator.
I just put the CD in my CD tray, in my computer, and I play PlayStation games on my computer.
That's pretty sweet.
Pretty cool.
Yes. Well, he won the $20 fun gift card.
Hooray!
Huzzah! Round of applause. 2 people. It's a pretty big round. Oh, 3. Wow.
Got all 3 of those.
That is a literally 100% rate. As promised, we're going to talk real quick about GTA 5, which a bunch of speculations were circulating around after we found out we were going to be getting the trailer, and a bunch of people were saying that it looks like it's going to be back in San Andreas.
People were saying that even only seeing the logo of the game, they speculated that we were back in San Andreas. Just the logo.
And they got it, because the trailer came out today, and it looks like... I did not know these criteria as well as some of the people who clearly did on Reddit, because they watched that trailer and they gleaned things out of that I couldn't even dream of.
I was watching some of the review frame by frame exactly what was going on.
They're like, if you look at that, that's a character from GTA 3, so you can tell that this is going to be back, and I was just like, oh my god, are you kidding me? But the trailer looked awesome.
Yep.
It really looked very cool. It's apparently going to be a huge map.
If you can look at it, it's everywhere on the internet. I can't tell you to go a specific place. It's everywhere.
Now, GTA always has like a specific decade it's kind of working in.
Yep.
Is it in the 90s like San Andreas was before? Or?
It kind of looked a little newer because the helicopters were a little newer looking.
They're also saying that they think it is the same character. And so I think it's a follow-up essentially to San Andreas.
I saw a review of it.
35 years old now.
Where... because of what they were showing of characters moving around, there are multiple characters you can play as.
Okay. But the people were saying that the person who was doing the voiceover for the trailer sounded like the character from San Andreas, and that you saw someone who looked very similar to the character somewhere in the trailer.
You did. He was standing on a balcony.
Yeah, so at the very least, he's coming back, if not being the
maybe he'll play.
Maybe
he'll be the bad guy. Maybe
that'd be interesting.
That would be kind of cool.
But so it must take place at least a ways after. I would assume it's probably closer to present. But it looked amazing. It really did look very cool. And the voiceover for just the trailer was very well done. The voice work was really cool. And from what I understand, I don't think I've completed a single GTA campaign all the way through, just because I always end up getting distracted when I play those games. But from what I understand, they already had amazing storylines and some voice acting like that.
People were asking that the Oscars come up with, something for video games, and Grand Theft Auto 4 would have been one of the first qualifiers for that. The storyline was brilliant. I mean, you felt for the characters, even though you were a bad guy.
Yeah. Well,
you were not a nice guy.
Not at all.
But
no.
I mean, that's already that's such a common thing in just fiction in general, because I mean, criminal characters were great. Like The Godfather was awesome.
A lot of antagonists are the one that win. The antagonists win the Oscars.
Yes.
It's normally not the nice guys. I mean, there's been a lot of instances of good guys winning the Oscars.
Well,
but
it's hard to be scary.
Yeah, especially to instill fear in all of your audience.
Yeah.
That's an
Like
accomplishment.
Darth Vader or something. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very. I mean, we're talking about movies now. I mean, We're talking about a game that is a movie.
Yeah, the line blurs. The line very much blurs, which, I mean...
And Rockstar does a really good job. I mean, L.A. Noire.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to bring up, because they were featured in a film festival, which we actually talked about on the show,
They actually took L.A. Noire to a film festival in, I believe, France.
Yep.
And they actually had it as a whole segment, as they talked about how they made this game and the facial recognition and how you actually have to watch your characters.
They did an amazing job, though. I mean, the game looked spectacular.
That comes out on the computer soon, doesn't it?
I thought it already did now.
Oh, I thought it wasn't out yet.
I thought it was on Steam. I thought I saw it on Steam. It could have been in pre-order,
I'm
though.
buying Skyrim, so that's pretty much
yeah,
all my
exactly.
time's going to be going to.
We don't have time
I'm
for
playing
these
Humble
paltry
Indie Bundle
games.
games and then Skyrim. But yeah.
Speaking of which, Skyrim is pretty much going to be probably all we're talking about next week, just as a fair warning, because... Next week is going to be basically 3 days before it comes out. And then after that, we will have played it pretty much all the way up until that next Wednesday. So most of that show, I'm assuming, is going to be us returning to the light and talking about our experiences.
Yep. GTA 5 takes place, obviously, in fictional Los Angeles, as it works, called Los Santos, San Andreas. Any other terms, they're all in the California surroundings there, and then Vinewood, which is like Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. Hopefully they give us planes back.
Yes.
Yeah,
because that was a blast. I really did enjoy that.
It was a line to blur because you were in New York City having planes. People are only going to crash them into buildings.
Yes.
That's all I would have done with it, sadly.
Which is... Because, I mean, no, that's totally what... Like, every kid who the first time they played Flight Sim, that's what happened.
Oh,
that's
exactly Microsoft Flight
because
Sim.
you're a kid.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm going to make things blow up in this video game because I'm playing a video game.
Having that New York City,
yeah,
not so much.
That was definitely, I mean, it's an understandable move, most likely.
And that's why when they're going to do this stuff with back to, San Andreas, give us back our planes.
Yes, because I remember there was one
it's
float
not, it's not even
plane that
real
I always
Los
took.
Angeles. It's like fake Los Angeles. The buildings aren't even the same.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not you're not smashing it into. Well, that'd be in San Francisco. I was thinking it was San Francisco. I don't know any major buildings in Los Angeles.
Though it looks like the map is a lot bigger than last San Andreas. So I mean, there's going to be new
the map
areas
is huge
located. Yeah.
And I hope that they fully flourish the entire thing.
Yep.
Which would be very cool.
There's already people making jokes though about like 20% of the map being DLC or pre-order bonuses, which would be so sad to me.
Grand Theft Auto doesn't. They never really did that, did they?
Didn't GTA 4 have a few pre-order bonuses?
We got the pre-order bonuses, but they're all in a box.
Okay,
like I got an actual metal like safety deposit box.
That's awesome.
Inside the metal safety deposit box, I got a duffel bag.
Dude, that is
which had my game inside
awesome.
of it.
That's so much better than like anything I can think of right now.
I use that duffel bag. Actually, I believe, I still use it for when I go places.
Dude, that's awesome.
My girlfriend's house.
That's so
my
awesome.
Duffel bag, my GTA duffel bag. And in my basement, I've got some old video games. They're really expensive old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games inside the case, hidden in my basement.
Very cool. Yeah, that's
really
a lot better than a 13-inch plastic dragon for Skyrim.
You remember that key I had in my keychain? I couldn't remember what it was for.
Yes,
it's for that safety deposit box.
All right.
Don't lose that.
The mystery's been solved.
No, you can pry it open really easy. It's pretty flimsy metal.
Yeah, it came with a video game. There's no, it's that awesome.
I think I paid $80.
Really? Like total?
Yeah.
Overall? Well, that's
$20 for.
That's about to say $20 for or $20 fun dollars for a relatively
$1 is
cool
into.
one. I don't know. We don't know the lines of that.
That's true.
They could just be fun bucks. Next story, by the way, which honestly might be one of our last ones. We're running out of time here, but there was a big deal, or kind of big deal. Certain segments of the internet made this a very big deal about something that happened at BlizzCon, where they had on this guy named his name's George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal is a very different band.
Oh, Corpse Grinder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lead singer.
Yep. Lead singer of it. And
I watched it.
There was a video that was aired before he had a little quick concert at the event, and it was him talking about WoW, and it was
because he's a very staunch ball player.
Yes,
that's all
but it
he
was
does.
basically a very long period of him swearing, which whatever. Honestly, yeah.
And that works for the band, but
yeah, but also using a whole lot. And honestly, I can't figure out whether I think this is a big deal or not. But I should first, before I analyze it, he used a bunch of very homophobic slurs all the time to describe. Well,
it wasn't just homophobic. It was every slur.
He used tons of slurs to describe people who played
On the Alliance.
Alliance team, because he was Horde. And
Well, yeah, Corpse Grinder's going to be
Of course he is. Yeah, that makes total sense for a death metal guy. But,
Yeah, he spent, it was a good, 15-minute rant about how Alliance people should go hang themselves and stuff.
He was talking about how they're all, emos, and he was like, go cry and tell me about how you're going to, cut your wrists. And it was just bad.
Well, boy, you talking to a holy paladin here. That don't work.
And honestly, all of that at, a Cannibal Corpse concert wouldn't have made me flinch. But Blizzard chose to be like, hey, you should come on stage and say that stuff at our event.
I mean, like you said, at a Cannibal Corpse, as a Cannibal Corpse fan, at a concert, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But at a concert sponsored by Blizzard.
Yeah, not even sponsored by Blizzard. It was at Blizzard's thing, their main thing.
It's not so much George's this is the problem. It's that Blizzard wanted to have him as a representative.
Even if they had to. They could, they censored parts of the video, but they could have at least just been like, hey, let's not do that.
Show it at all.
Yeah, let's just have him come on and do a song.
Yeah, do some...
Ta-da! Yeah. Problem solved. But instead, they decided to air this clip beforehand, and it was not good. And there was a bunch of stuff on the forums. It just made an
It was
outrage.
A censored clip, though.
Yes.
The video they showed during the feed was
censored,
but the user base of World of Warcraft is something you do not want to make angry.
Yes. And there was, on the forums, it was just an uproar, and Blizzard finally issued both a public apology and an apology on the forums, which good on them, honestly, to actually just handle it the right way and apologize instead of being like, no, just it's not
Basically, he stated in a quote, "I've read your feedback and your comments about this year's BlizzCon. I've also read your feedback and to the apology from the elite, the level 90 elite Turn Chieftain, which is a band. I'd like to respond to some of the feedback here. As the president of Blizzard, I take full responsibility for everything that occurs at BlizzCon." And then basically he goes on to say he's extremely sorry for all the things that were said because you should be.
Yeah,
you should be sorry.
That was something that should not have gotten through, most definitely.
Never, ever.
It would be one thing, too, if he said it live, but it was a video.
Yeah, no, they consciously chose that. They were like, let's air that.
Yeah.
Or not air, I guess, in that case. But let's show that, to all of our adoring fans. I'm sure they'll all love it. There's no way any of them could be offended. But also, as long as you're talking about Blizzard, there was another thing, because I think we've briefly mentioned that Heart of the Swarm was finally, full-blown announced, and we got, a list of all these units that are coming with. Well, somebody decided that waiting is not a very good thing, and so they just modded, apparently, in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, they modded the entire expansion.
Yeah, they basically just made all the troops for StarCraft 2, so, you can already play it.
Sweet.
Yeah, which
Bet South Korea loves it.
I bet everybody loves it, honestly.
I haven't played it yet.
You haven't?
No, I've been sick,
I do wonder how well they could have recreated these units.
Supposedly it's supposed to be perfect.
Really? Because, even Blizzard, once they make them, they have to tweak them a fair bit and make all these balanced things.
He made the exact replicas of the pictures. And
wow.
Yeah, he spent a long time. Since we don't have very much time, and I wanted to dive into this lightly, Paradox Interactive.
Oh yeah.
A medium we should probably make a list of the tiers of the gaming companies.
We really should.
They're above indie, but they're not at the level of
full corporation kind of thing. Yeah.
They make a lot of games. Paradox Interactive. They've
been around for a while.
They've been around for a while. They made Magicka and stuff, which is
that's probably their biggest game, I would say. Honestly, their most popular.
Popular. But they made a game called Sengoku. Which is basically the Way of the Warrior.
Takes place in Japan.
In the year 1467.
Also known as the Sengoku era.
Yep. And basically you look
namesake.
You take from the top down. Basically you look at the entire world of Japan, but it's not really a military simulator like Total War. You get the armies and stuff. It's more of a political simulator. So you not only as your leader have to have wives, have to have children, you marry those children off.
Nice.
Get brides, build alliances between people next to you. You fight them obviously with armies, but most of the battles are fully simulated for you. It's an entire simulator of how do I marry my children off to get total control of Japan.
Which that was the situation at the time. It was all
and that's what happened in Europe too.
Yeah,
people don't forget
it's feudalism is all it was.
I believe actually right before World War I happened. Every single major leader in Europe was directly related to Queen Elizabeth.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Every single leader.
That's just what happens in an area. When it's that.
And she married her father married children off pretty darn well.
Very well.
I think it was the father. I'm not in British politics. I don't understand this. But basically, you control a noble family in feudal Japan. You rise to influence and power, and your objective is take over Japan. It's a very detailed map, down to like exacts. Like mountains are in the right spots. Very cool. I played it for quite a few hours. It's extremely difficult.
I've heard that of pretty much every Paradox game ever made, though.
Basically, the jokes on the internet, it's called an autism simulator.
Yeah,
because you gotta be
that
that smart about video games and be that in depth and detailed watching
like
just
a savant.
This. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd have to play on the slowest, and I never kept up at all. And other times, like with Victoria 2, another game by them, which I absolutely adore, I can put it on full speed, and if I'm like, Germany or the Northern German Empire, okay, attack me, come on, bring it. I'm Germany. But in this, everybody's pretty much equal, because there's so many different factions.
Yeah.
And the best part is even when you build up your empire, you have to put your children or other people in your family in parts of your empire. And if they don't like you,
they'll pull
they
out.
separate right off the bat. And what you can do is you make plots between people. And so, like, if you're within your own empire, you can have 2 of your sons plot against you if you don't keep up enough influence with all this stuff. And it's a crazy political simulator. I really loved it. It could use a little tweaking, but it just came out on the 13th of September.
Now, is this mostly a computer, like a versus AI, like emphasis?
No, you
or
can have
okay.
it against. I played a Victoria game where almost every country on the planet was occupied.
Holy cow!
Too long.
Yeah, I bet that would have been the longest game ever.
The lag was moderately outrageous.
Now, are they? It's real time though, right? It's not like Civ style where you're doing it turn based.
Nope, completely real time. Makes it extremely difficult, to say the least. There's not very many difficulty levels. Is somebody gets power, if they take over central Japan,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Like the latest one I played, I got about 7% of Japan, the northern part of Japan. My son passed away, and so I had no heir to the throne, and the people I had placed in power underneath me decided
to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
wow, that is really
my son died from conspicuous circumstances. The game wouldn't tell me because I didn't have enough ninja clans underneath my power to know which ninja clans had done it.
Wow.
Done the assassination, because this was real. The ninja clans really did murder and assassinate people like crazy. But yeah.
That sounds awesome.
But we're done. It's the end of our show. We got exactly 3 minutes left.
You got to give leeway to Sports
Beat. I'm only going to sign off once.
Yeah, they rip on us routinely.
Rip on us.
Which is funny because we outdo them on Facebook likes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Just a casual mention, really.
Casual mention. Yep.
What? Doing it right?
No, signing off a bunch of times.
You haven't signed off yet. I haven't said the exact statement of signing off. You can check us out on facebook.com/90terabytes. We'd love your likes. And if you got reviews,
we'd love your likes.
We had one person call in and say he didn't like Shadow of the Colossus, and so we can review it on our page.
Yes.
I cannot wait to read that.
I
know Taylor wanted to read
intrigued,
that.
honestly.
I haven't read a bad review, actual in-depth bad review.
I mean, that was like one of the best games on like the best system. It's hard to really look at that and go, for me.
Yeah. We're still talking.
Right. We are.
But yeah,
we're running out quick.
Facebook.com/90terabytes. Thank you for listening to 90 terabytes of alternative gaming here on 90 FM, your only alternative
for gaming.